Okay.
Hi, Signe. Good morning.
Hey, good morning.
First of all, thank you for the film.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah, we're here. So let's just start with the questions. You did Rocks in My Pocket in 2014. And when did you start working on this second film? And what was perhaps the initial inspiration for this film?
I started to work on this film. I started writing the script for it in September 2015. So it was a long, long time ago. It took a long time to get the film done. And the inspiration for the film was I thought that my second marriage to a Swedish animator, Lasse Persson, was quite amazing and dramatic story. And I thought, it merited some kind of cinematic approach. It was very, dramatic story. So I started writing it, or like started writing notes in the summer 2015. And very soon I realized that it's not really the story that I really wanted to tell. I wanted to examine a little bit more why did we want to marry? Like, what was the urge to marry? And also what destroyed the marriage? What destroyed the marriage? And then I had to look into why do we fall in love? And but love is so connected to the concept of gender, because we always talk about love as the kind of between man and a woman, but what is love? And so I kind of wanted to examine everything to the bottom of it and to get to the objective truth of it. And that's why suddenly biology appeared in a screenplay, and also the singing sirens, the sirens that lure us into concepts, like in obedience for the concepts.
At what point did you knew that you will include, as you mentioned, singing, which is was kind of surprising for me at first, and also these biology, very scientific intermezzos, and how much research did you have to do for this second part, these biological, explanations, basically?
The moment when I realized that the story of my second marriage is gonna be, it's not gonna be this. The story is not gonna be just about my second marriage, and so then the moment I started writing the script, for real in September, I wrote kind of an outline in the beginning of what I wanted the story to be, and biology was part of it, and also the singing characters are part of it, because for me, you cannot tell the story of love without telling how societal forces, how society shapes your perception what is love. And I feel that the songs that we hear on radio, we hear on TV, they really influence the way how they shape how what we're gonna expect from love, and how we're gonna shape our relationships. And so I felt that you know, like, how do you represent societal forces? How do you represent those forces that make you internalize societal pressures? And I thought the songs, they're so sexy, they're so beautiful, they're so alluring. So I had to have singing characters. So I couldn't. Yeah, they were like early on. There was like it was a structure of the film, the biology, the songs, and Zelma's life. That was early on. It was just that was the beginning. That was the core of the script.
And
oh, the research. Yeah, you asked about the research. Yeah, I am not a neuroscientist. I studied philosophy, but that's really far away from neuroscience. And I'm also an artist, so what do I know? But I'm always interested in I'm always interested to open up surface and look deeper inside, like why we are the way we are. But this is like really like serious research, and it took me a year, like 1 year, like examining and studying, and I got a lot of information from internet. There's like if you go on internet and you try to do a scientific research, there is a lot of tools for you to examine, to really to find scientific papers. But then at the end you don't know, because you know how on internet you find a lot of shit. It's like internet is full of good stuff and bad stuff, and that's what is true. And so at the end, when I wrote this whole script, I went to a scientist, to NYU professor, New York University professor Pascal Alish, and I asked him to look over. And so we had like 4 intense sessions of like where we met, and he was just like saying this and that and this and that. Like, for example, he would say, you cannot, like, he says, this is a new theory. This is like a theory, groundbreaking theory that you wrote into your paper, in your script. And he says, and we don't know if it's true or not, unless there are 10 other scientists confirming it in 10 other scientific papers. And so he says, if you want your film to get old really fast, or be filled with incorrect information or some kind of not valuable information, then yeah, go ahead and put it in. But I would advise you don't do that. And so there are some groundbreaking theories that I really was excited about, because I'm like, oh my God, that explains everything. And so I had to take them out. And the other thing that surprised me was I wanted to really do, like, for example, Zelma, and she starts to menstruate. I wanted to have a kind of like explanation what caused the first menstruation. It's called menarche in English. It's the first time a girl menstruates, and it's caused by, it's a cascade of events that happens in her body. But I wanted to find out really what is that thing that triggers, what is that last moment that triggers it. And nowhere on internet I could find. And I was combing internet, and finally I found an article from 1978. And there's this one woman who talked about menarche, but that was it. But it was not exactly what I needed. So I went to my scientist and I said, I want to know the menarche, what is causing menarche. And he says, oh, that's easy. And he opened up this whole like scientific paper thing, like he has access because he is paid member of scientific, whatever, the academia papers. So he was able to get into stuff that I couldn't get. And so he researched in front of me for half an hour everything that was available to any scientist on universe, right? What is written about menstruation and menarche. And he found out that about menarche was only that one article from 1978. And he was just so appalled. He thought it was sexism. He said if it was about a male procreative organs, like a sperm or something, it would be like hundreds and thousands of papers. But about a woman menstruating, or like a menarche, what causes a woman to menstruate the first time, he was shocked, and I was shocked too. In any case, when the film premiered in Tribeca, I invited him to come to the premiere. And then after the film was finished, he got up and he said, ladies and gentlemen, this is the most scientifically correct film I have scene, and I was very, very happy about that.
Wow, that's a great compliment. Could you talk a bit about animation also? I know that you use 3D background sets and then 2D characters which you put in front of these sets. Could you talk a bit about how long did it take to build those sets and what was the process of animation this time?
Yeah, so the reason why we chose to work in this technique is that, first of all, if you notice in the film, there are 5 different techniques, 5 different visual approaches, and each of them is representing a different world. The first world, the 3-dimensional sets and the hand-drawn characters inside, that world is the real world where Zelma's life unfolds. That's the world she lives in. That's the world we live in. So that's the one world. The second world is her imagination, her fantasy, which is flat 2D drawings. And that's the world that she uses in her head to process the world around her. Like that's how she internalizes some thoughts and she makes justifications, and that is her imagination world. And then the third world is biology. The biology is entirely different technique because I also had to, I hired another animator. I animated the whole film except for biology parts because I wanted that part to be in an entirely different style. And so that was important to me, that you go inside that micro world and there's something else happening. And then the fourth world is political maps. So I said 5 worlds, now it's 4 worlds. The political maps, and they're very simple, flat maps. And that's kind of a political world, a larger world that Zelma lives in, and where countries collapse, but also how she learns the world. And as she learns the world maps get more colorful. And at the end, when the borders disappear, it was also kind of a message that I put in there. But anyway, how long did it take? So the technique, is very elaborate. And that's why, we started writing the script in 2015. And the premiere was in 2022, summer 22. So it was, 7 years to make this film. And the reason why it took so long was because, it's like 30 singing and talking characters. It's a lot. And I think I was insane when I wrote the script. I really didn't know how long is it going to take. If I have known, I wouldn't have started it. Or I have written different script, but that's what it is. But yeah, so we would build 3-dimensional sets, and I had a team of several people, like interns and also assistants that were paid to help me with to build the sets. And my partner Sturgis, who is also he's co-producer, he's lighting designer, he's main carpenter. So he would build these the wooden structures of the rooms, and then my assistants would go in and paper mache them to create this texture. And then we would put them in a shooting room. Sturgis would put lighting, I would photograph them, and then I would print out the photographs, and then I draw the characters on top. And I drew a pencil on paper because I'm a very tactile person, and I had to do it that way. And then we would scan the drawings in, send it to Latvia, which is our co-production country, and team in Latvia would color them artistically to create 3-dimensional sense of the characters, so it was very artistically painted, so they look round rather than flat. And then a team of compositors put it together. So it was like really a very elaborate, painful process, but that's how it is. Yeah, animation.
Perhaps a question from the audience at this point. Yep.
Hi.
Hi.
Congratulations for a beautiful film. I think it will be a very important educational films for young audience as well. My question was, I'm not sure how much this story is related to you personally. I don't know you and your story actually, but I was curious why you decided to give a main character an English voice. I mean, she's an immigrant. She comes from Japan first, or she's Latvian from her birth. I'm not sure that, but I was surprised that the film is in English. So that's my question.
The first question was if this film is personal. Yeah, it is inspired by real events and by also it's inspired by my life, I guess you can say that. Like it's based on true life experiences, but I cannot really say it's based on my life because my first husband said he would sue me. So, yeah, so anyway, but the second question about English. So I live in New York, and Zelma is not an immigrant. If you noticed that the country is the same country, it's the Soviet Union. She starts her journey in Sakhalin, and she travels to Latvia, and it's the same country at the time, which is Soviet Union. And I mean, I guess the story did leave a confusion for you. Who is she and where is she going? But yeah, anyway, but why the film is in English? There is a Latvian version of this film. And but I wrote the film in English because I live in New York. I collaborate with my partner Sturgis, who doesn't speak any other language but English, and I wanted him to be part of the process. He was the dramaturg of the story, and so we had to collaborate on some language that we could collaborate with. So it was written in English. We also wanted to have because if we wanted to release in United States, so we wanted to have it in English with American actors that would have names, and we do have a name actor there. I don't know if you know Matthew Modine, and Dagmara Dominchik has a name also in United States. But the main reason why we also wanted to have it in English is that you know, it's very I don't know, it's a very it's a lot of words in the film, and if you know English, you don't have to read subtitles, right? And a lot of people know English, so they don't. So if the film was in Latvian, you would have to read subtitles and you would miss a lot of visual things because the things move really fast sometimes, you know. So I just wanted the audience to experience the film like audio, visual, like without like having to read subtitles. So I mean, that was those are the reasons why the film is in English. But if you would like to see it in Latvian, you can come to Latvia right now. You can see it in Latvian movie theaters in Latvian with English subtitles. So yeah, did I answer your question?
Another question?
Thank you very much for a really amazing movie. It was very special for me because I am from Lithuania, Litva, and that girl was going to Vilnius to see this artist Jonas, so it was really nice to see my country. And I have a question, how would you imagine future of Selma? Now it ended, like she kind of made peace with herself, but what would be her future in your imagination? Thank you.
Thank you. Well, labas rytas. I know one poem by Čiurlionis, like I still remember it, but Lithuania is a very special, has a very special place in my heart. Her future, Zelma's future. The thing is that when the doors open, when she walks out in this new space, and the new possibilities with the understanding of her new self, like who she is, and accepting it. I want you, the audience, to co-create with me her future. Like you are, that is the question to you. What kind of world do you want to live in? What kind of future do you imagine for Zelma? Do you imagine her living with another man? Do you imagine her living with another woman? How is she going to build her intimate relationships? On what basis? On what ground? And that is the question that we all have to answer. Like we have to co-create Zelma's future by creating our own. And so that is why the film has this open-ended ending. Although, you know, when I am introducing the film, I always beg people to stay for end credit song and listen to the song. And if you hear the song, because the song was written specially for the film, I wrote the lyrics, and our composer Christian Sensini wrote the music for the song, and Storm Large, this great singer, she sang it. And so I wanted this song kind of answer the question of what is that Zelma's future. And I guess you would have to go back to the song and listen to it again. But the idea for me, the song, the main impact I wanted of the song is for you to have hope and be inspired to change yourself a little bit. And when you change yourself a little bit, the world may change. And the aspiration is to have a greater parity, greater equality between genders, because I feel that if there is no equality in intimate relationships, then the true intimacy is not possible. True trust is not possible. And then we become less powerful if we are in a relationship that doesn't have true intimacy. So that is kind of one of the thoughts of the film. But as for your question, what is Zelma's future? That is up to you to imagine it, up to you to create it.
Another question, perhaps? No? Let me have a question then. I heard that you also did crowdfunding for this film. I'm wondering about this decision, and also in connection with that, how it is to make such a big film, you know, such a long film, elaborate, and took 7 years, but still do it independently.
Well, this kind of film is only possible if you make it independently. So you know, you cannot make this kind of film with a producer telling you what to do and how much money do you have. But when I started writing the film, I did not imagine how long it will take, how much money will it take, and how big it is going to turn, like big, like, you know, big in a way. I just wanted to make a better film than Rocks in My Pockets, a different film than Rocks in My Pockets. And I wanted to see what would happen if I worked with actors. And it was like challenge on top of challenge. And if I had known all the difficulties that we would have to go through, I would never have made it. So I thought that this film will take you know, $500,000 to make, maybe 4 or 3 years, and I would be done. And it took, you know, $1.5 million to make, and I had to constantly. We would only fundraise for like the next stretch of 6 months, and after 6 months we would like I would have to put animation work aside and would start to do fundraising. And it was kind of insane work of insane way of working, because I really hate fundraising, because, you know, it's like you're asking for money. On the other hand, I don't have regrets, because we had to connect with people. It is a community of people. It's you know, around 2,000 people who helped us to make this film with small donations, big donations, and then we kept in touch with them. We had regular updates, and so there is a feeling of community around this film, and that was very important to me. You know, actually, if you want to know more about the film and about the process, I forgot to mention that we have a website, myloveaffairwithmarriage.com, and on that website you can see like how we make sets, what's the process, also all our like updates, you know, what festivals it's playing in, and what are the reviews and all that. So it's all on the website, My Love Affairs Marriage, if you're curious about that.
Are you also planning a theater release in the States?
Yeah, we are working on it. That's we already have a distributor in France and in Spain, and I think it's gonna be released on HBO in Central Europe. That's what I hear. In United States, it's more difficult because it's more kind of Hollywood driven, like kind of name driven kind of approach, and art houses right now in the United States are in shatters, but we do have a hope. So we are working every day. We're talking to some distributors. So there's like a plan. There's a plan.
Okay. Perhaps the last chance for a question from the audience? No? Okay, if not, I would like to thank you so much for joining us at such an early hour.
Yeah, no, thank you for coming, because I imagine it's a Sunday morning. You have other things to do, and here you are in a church of theater watching my film. I am amazed and I'm grateful. It's a beautiful theater, what I can see. So I wish I was there with you in person.
Yeah, and you have greetings from the Animateka team as well. So
Oh, thank
you
you.
so much once
Yes.
again. And
Okay.
looking forward to your next project.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah. Thank you. Yay. All right. Well, thank you so much. And I hope you enjoy the film and help us spread the word, and sign up on our newsletter on our website.
We
Thank
will.
you.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay. Bye. Bye-bye.